Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Embodied Podcast in 2022. I am your host, Elizabeth D'Alto, and since 2013, I have been teaching women how to harness the power of their sacred bodies and free their wild souls. This podcast became a big part of that work when we launched in 2015, and what listeners consistently share that they love about the show is how we always aim to address, synthesize, and integrate the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of not just healing, but finding self-love, wholeness, and liberation. The show is available on all podcast players and YouTube, and our show notes pages, which you can find at untameyourself.com/podcast, include minute markers and transcripts. If you're a note taker or it's just helpful for you to see things in writing, head on over there and check it out. And thank you so much for listening. Your time, energy, and attention is valuable and precious, and I appreciate that you'd focus any of it here with me and our guests. Let's get into the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 382 of the Embodied Podcast. I called this episode Journey to the Mystery School, and the intention of the episode is to be the transmission that activates and officially opens, the School of Sacred Embodiment. So for almost 9 years now, I have been channeling the wisdom, love, and medicine from my ancestors and Akashic Records into this body of work. Only for most of that time, I didn't really know, or I wasn't really able or willing to fully own that that's what was happening until sometime in 2019. And even then, I wasn't able or willing to fully own what I was actually stewarding and creating. And you can kind of hear me laughing about this because as I'm saying it, I'm just like having this like life flashing before my eyes moment of just all the things I've done over the years to get in my own way. I know some of you can relate to that, but I'm over that now. To the greatest extent that I've ever been over it. And this is what's here now. So some people, I actually really hate this phrase. Some people might call this being a late bloomer. I just call it trusting the divine timing of my life. I stopped forcing, pushing, and chasing shit a long time ago. However, in the process of all of this, I did create a lot of offerings. A lot of you listening have probably participated in some or even all. Some of you, my diehards, I love you so much. You know who you are. Have been part of like everything over the years, programs, retreats, trainings, experiences, quizzes. I self-published a book. We've recorded almost 400 podcasts. I mean, this is episode number 382. We will hit 400 episodes in this year, 2022. I've interviewed over 300 people, read hundreds of books, participated in trainings and workshops and circles myself, worked with so many teachers and healers, and much of my study wasn't exactly learning new things as much as it's been remembering. And if you've been listening to the podcast this year, you've heard me mention Caroline Myss a lot. And I don't mind telling you that one of the reasons I love her work so much is because it totally validates so much of what I've been saying and sharing for years that has come through me. Things that I'm like, I don't know how I know this to be true, but I know that it is. And then I listen to Caroline Myss and she says it and I'm like, great, there's proof. This isn't just me. And don't mishear me. Of course, not everything I've learned or shared or teach or whatever has been straight downloads from my ancestors in the Akashic Records. I have had to learn some things along the way, of course. Either way, what I'm saying is that my teachers and guides have been crucial to my realizations, understandings, evolution, and embodiment of what I'm here to know, do, and share. But also, much of it has just, like I said earlier, come through me. And in an age and in a culture where rational thought and science and evidence and like peer-reviewed studies and all of these things are the gold standard, one of the things that has been challenging for me over the years is that place of like, listen, I don't know how I know this, I just do. Luckily enough, I have had the courage to just go with it. And then the proof is in the pudding, as they say, right? I see it works for me. It works for thousands of students who I've worked with and clients. So I even actually talked to a new depth psychologist slash shamanic healer I started working with about this recently, about how a lot of teachers and healers I work with and I've worked with over the years quickly become my peers and friends. And often these people are much older than me. And the a thought slash feeling I've often had in these circumstances is, I don't know why they're treating me like a peer, but they always reflect to me that my chronological age does not reflect the ancient wisdom they sense in me, which in itself is a wisdom of age, isn't it, on their part, right? Realizing that age, while definitely something to honor and respect for certain reasons, is not a complete measuring stick for a lot of things. And I really respect these people. So while it was hard to accept, I took it to heart as just one way life was validating my path and telling me to just keep listening, keep paying attention, and deepening my trust in myself and the divine unfoldment of things. Now, despite all the work I've done, the most impactful things I've created, again, have kind of just come through me. And in 2020, I started to realize that all of this has been initiating me into my deepest power, purpose, and most mystical life. So some people talk about living their best life. I'm about living my most mystical life. And this is a big reason I don't want kids. And more recently, which might really surprise some of you who have heard me talk about dating and my conscious hoe phase over the years, I'm no longer in pursuit or even desire of a life partner or even lovers. I'm not a full no to partnership the way I am to kids, but this is a deepening into the mystical and the priestess path for me. And traditionally, many of the most potent mystics and healers did not have families or partners because their primary relationships were with the divine. And I feel this in my bones. To have much more time to be in devotion, contemplation, practice, and embodiment is part of my path. And let me just say, because people can't not compare or take things personally, this is not any kind of superior path. It's just an option. I know plenty of amazing teachers, mystics, healers, priestesses, and guides who are in relationships and have families. But just like those people can say, yes, you can be in a mother archetype or use your mothering energy, but it's not the same as raising, rearing, and mothering actual children. I can say, yes, you can be a mystic or a priestess and have a family, be a householder, as they call it in certain traditions. But it's not the same as having the time and space to fully devote yourself to your path. And coming to this level of devotion and commitment was the real blessing of the pandemic for me. While it was also one of the most challenging times of my life, as it was for most people, for a lot of different reasons, for me, it was the biggest challenge was being so isolated once I moved up to Oakland from LA in October of 2020. I couldn't really go places, see many people or do much. Like I went on walks. I went to the grocery store. So I cultivated my own embodiment and my body of embodiment work and medicine more deeply. And also I really started to see it as medicine. I really started to see it as, okay, this is the medicine I'm here to steward in the world in this lifetime. Because, the word work is interesting. Work makes things sound like a job or a career. And this is neither of those things for me. This is a calling. And I'm going to talk about that a little while later. So the isolation gave me an opportunity to spend more time literally doing my work, like working with clients and students and teaching. It also gave me more time to spend with my ancestors and divine support squad. And by the way, if you don't know what I mean by divine support squad, or you're interested in connecting with your own, we all have them. We all have a divine support squad. It's just what I call it, right? Some people will call it their council or, other things. You can go to untameyourself.com/workshops and check out the guide, Getting Down with Your Divine Support Squad. That's what I called that workshop. Or you can join the Wild Soul Sacred Body community where it's included in the membership. And at the end of the episode, I'm going to give you links to all these things. You could also find them at the show notes page, which is at untameyourself.com/382. So I started to think of this life path really as letting my soul take up more space in my life, because that's how it feels, over the years. But again, especially in the pandemic, once I moved up to Oakland and I was so isolated and I was like, all right, well, I got the time, I got the space. let me go deeper into my medicine, into my practice, into my channeling. It felt like I was being emptied of even deeper layers of my human trauma, drama, chaos, programming, and conditioning, to clear out space specifically for my soul's medicine, knowledge, wisdom, essence, understanding, compassion, grace, and love, to run more of the show in my life than anything else. So it's been like becoming a more soulful, like soul dash FULL, soulful, or soul-filled being. And I thought I had devoted myself to this mission of teaching women about the sacred body in 2014. And I mean, I had, to the best of my capacity and ability at that time. And now it's clearer than ever, like I said a moment ago, that this is not a job or even a career for me. This is a calling. This is the thing I can't not do. And while being called is a phrase that gets watered down and manipulated like a lot of other things these days, how I've known that it's pure and genuine for me is that over the years, it doesn't go away. I can't quit it, even when my ego wants to, even when other things in life try to seduce me off my path. And when that happens, which by the way, there's always things, and you can probably relate to this in your own way, in your own path, whatever it is, there are always things that are trying to seduce us, distract us, derail us from our path, from realizing our soul's purpose and following through on it. But then here's what happens. Anytime I get distracted or derailed, or I pop out of my lane, there are always, always, always affirmations, synchronicities, and miracles, like really awe-inspiring, you can't make this shit up, drops me to my knees in gratitude kind of stuff that will pull me back onto my path. So of course I get distracted sometimes, but I always come back home to myself, my soul, and my path. And if you've been around for a while, you've probably seen it happen. Maybe you've even felt it or experienced it in a program, the membership, a mentorship, or something else you've participated in with me. My most recent distraction, something that I've let distract me often over the years. And, I say I let, but in some ways I couldn't help it. It wasn't me allowing, it was just the thing that needed to happen so I could go through it and have the experience, and it could clarify my vision and my devotion and dedication later. But the most recent thing, an ongoing thing, has been trying to make the work and the medicine that I'm here to steward more palatable and digestible for people by calling it an institute. So the School of Sacred Embodiment is the new name for what I had been calling the Institute for Embodied Living, but I've also completely refined like the structure and the body of work and all these other things. And listen, here's where that came from. I thought maybe it will be less intimidating if it sounds more formal, right? Institute, what a formal word. But no, it's not the case. It was still just as fucking intimidating and intense for people, because here's the thing. Anything achingly real, deep, and embodied that calls people to love and respect themselves, all of life, the great mysteries, and each other more deeply is going to be intimidating, because that shit actually is scary. That shit is scary. Ego shit is going to die. Trauma bonds and safety blankets and identity obsession will have to fade away. And all of those things comfort us. They create illusions of safety. So committing to work that is constantly inviting you to more soul absolutely uproots your life. But here's the thing. Not doing it uproots your life constantly too. The difference is when you're not seeking to fill up on your soul, but other things that are conditioned into you by the kyriarchy, which, by the way, this term kyriarchy, I love because it's so efficient. It's basically all the isms and archies and phobias combined, right? White supremacy, racism, colonialism, imperialism, patriarchy, misogyny, etc. When you move through whatever is currently uprooting your life that comes from those places, you don't come out more aligned, satisfied, fed, or healed on the other side. You come out stronger and more resilient. This is where we get the what doesn't kill you makes you stronger saying. And that has some benefits to it, but you also stay hungry, empty, lost, stuck, confused, disconnected, and unfulfilled on certain levels. Because the only thing that can truly fill any of us up, genuinely and deeply is our own soul. It's divine love embodied. So it's time to actually call all of this, everything I've been doing for the last 9 years, what it really is. The School of Sacred Embodiment is a mystery school. And the mysteries we study, practice, embody, embrace, and aim to spread and inspire more reverence for in the world are wisdom, love, and liberation. So, and the wounds, the specific wounds, like you hear people talk about, core wounds or the mother wounds. The wounds that we really aim to heal in the School of Sacred Embodiment is the sacred body wound. And I have a definition for that. I've shared that before. It's actually on the homepage of the new website. So you can go to untameyourself.com and it'll be right there on the homepage. But here's what I want to share with you next. And let me say that again, because I got kind of caught off guard because there were some little notifications popping off in the background, and I'm not going to edit that out. This is real life. It happens. The School of Sacred Embodiment is a mystery school. And the mysteries we study, practice, embody, embrace, and aim to spread and inspire more reverence for in the world are wisdom, love, and liberation. And by the way, notice this is not... This is not an accident, right? What was I just talking about? Getting distraction, derailed, or whatever. So this whole time I'm recording this podcast episode, totally peaceful, no problems. But when I get to the part of officially declaring what this shit is, I start getting interrupted by these little notifications, right? That shows you I'm still rooting into this. This is real. This is big. This is a big deal. So here's the next thing I want to share with you. I recently got a tattoo of a serpent that wraps around my left wrist, drops into an infinity symbol, and comes out on top of my hand. Now, I first envisioned this tattoo during Virgo season in 2020 because it was such an intense vision, I waited for a lot of things to feel right before actually getting it. And I wrote this on Instagram when I shared the video of the tattoo. When I got it, at the time I'm recording this, it was last weekend. I said, someday I'll tell you the story of how everything came into alignment during the final week of Pisces season in 2022, under the Virgo full moon, on the cusp of winter shifting into spring in Miami Beach, where it almost always feels like summer. So here's the part of the story that I want to share with you now. I did a healing session before my tattoo appointment, and it's called Structural Alignment. This guy here in South Beach does rolfing and sound healing, this epic combination of the two that my body is really loving right now and really responding to. And he also works with these things called aurosoma. I don't really know how to explain them other than that they're fragrances that resonate with frequencies of certain energies. So you pick by the color, like he shows you, I think there's 13 of them. And then whatever color you're drawn to, he'll pull that one out, tell you what it signifies. You put it on your hand, you smell it, you fill your aura with it. And the one I chose on Saturday when I was getting my tattoo was Christ consciousness. And then also during my session, because he has all these incredible singing bowls on shelves next to the treatment table, I opened my eyes for a moment, and right in my line of sight was a singing bowl with a Jesus fish etched onto it. So I was like, okay, JC in the house. And then later when I went to my tattoo appointment, I walked in and the first piece of art on the wall, because a tattooist is also an artist, as most are, is a big painting of Jesus in his crown of thorns. Now, if you listened to my podcast episode on prayer, which we'll also put a link to that in the show notes at untameyourself.com/382 if you want to check it out. It's called How to Pray. If you heard that episode, you know that Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and Mother Mary are the big three MVPs or VIPs in my divine support squad. So I knew this time and this symbol of the serpent and getting my tattoo was absolutely ordained for me, because 3 times within 3 hours leading up to my tattoo, I bump into these undeniable appearances, if you will, of Jesus. So what's fascinating related to this is some of the Christian people in my life's reactions to the tattoo. Since in Christianity, which some of you are probably familiar, that Garden of Eden story in the Garden of Eden story, the serpent is the devil tempting Eve, which results in original sin. And that's the story. And that is deeply programmed. Like, that is one of the foundational teachings of Christianity. Now, someday I'll do a whole podcast about why that story is such a fucking load of bullshit, meant to create fear and also officially position women as the problem until the end of time. Today is not that day. Related to this, one of my favorite things about sacred embodiment, the embodiment work we do in this mystery school, is the part that helps people and gives them pathways to a relationship with the divine outside of religious programming. And listen, all religions have beautiful principles and teachings to offer. And there are certainly people who practice religion in the way that is really holy, really reverent, really humble, and does not oppress the self or others. However, the patriarchalization, colonialism, these words have so many syllables. The colonialism, imperialism, and whitewashing of so much of religion kills the deeper truths and separates people from the deepest love and gifts the divine has to offer that just cannot and do not come through an intermediary like a priest and are not found in special dedicated buildings like churches or required sermons and sacraments. And again, I don't want to detract from the legitimate sanctity and holiness of those things, because there is certainly some. It's just not all. So back to the serpent. For people with capacity for nuance, depth, context, and complexity, the serpent is an incredibly rich symbol. And I'll share what it means in a moment. But first, here's what I shared when I posted the video of my tattoo on Instagram. Here's what I wrote in the caption. The serpent has multi-layered meaning to me. And if you're a tattoo person, you know that people are always asking you what your tats mean. So when a friend asked me why I wanted a serpent tattoo, I realized I should compose a concise answer for such moments, as I'm not really the type to share all the layers with everyone who asks. So I said, let's just say I could deeply relate to being a sensual, complex, and powerful creature that is often feared and misunderstood. So that's my boilerplate answer. The deeper answer, but not the deepest, is that the serpent for me symbolizes so much change and transformation, firstly, and most constantly, shedding skin, renewal. There's also something so primal about the serpent with its belly on the earth. And I also had a personal experience in 2015 at an event led by Shiva Ray, where she called it was a Naga, which means snake in Sanskrit, I believe, meditation. And so they brought like 3 snakes into this circle. And we were each taking turns going up and taking a seat. And then someone would put one of the snakes around your shoulders, and you would sit there and meditate with the snake for a few minutes on your body. Now, there were 3 seats, and one of them specifically, because there were 2 smaller snakes and then one really big one. And they were like, only sit here if you want the really big snake. So I specifically waited for one of the seats to open up that was not the big snake seat. However, they put the big snake on me anyway. And I have to tell you, it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. As I'm recording this, there's a picture of it somewhere. I'm going to see if I could dig that up, and we'll put that on the show notes page too. But feeling the snake's slow sensual movement and how that felt a lot like how I move in sensual movement practices was incredible. And it formed my breath. It felt mystical. It was grounding to be in an intimate physical contact like that with a creature that just moments ago I was completely terrified of and going out of my way to avoid. And that stayed with me. So between that and then that vision I had in 2020, I knew I was going to get this tattoo eventually. So a few days after getting my tattoo, I shared this in the Wild Soul Sacred Body community. I had been sitting at my computer. I was on a Zoom video and I kept noticing how I put my hand, like I'll lean my chin on my hand or, touch my face or something. And the tattoo kept like coming into the view. And I was just like loving on it so much. And so I was sharing in the community. I listened to Alicia Keys' memoir on Audible last year. It's called More Myself. And I loved that title so much. Part of the initiation of this tattoo for me was fully owning that I'm a dangerous woman, meaning dangerous to illusions, delusions, untruths, and other nonsense in both the culture and in people. It's just who I am. I'm here to help liberate us all from that crap, which inherently makes me dangerous to all who and all that would rather keep it intact. It's taken me almost a decade to accept that. I've resisted it so much in so many ways, and finally, I'm completely comfortable with it. This feels so good. There's much more to share about this. I will probably record a solo podcast like I did after my surgery to break it all down. The storyteller in me is also coming alive in deeper ways this year. And here I am recording that podcast right now. And then I also left another comment on that post that said, also, I'm ready to admit that no matter how hard I try to make my work more practical and digestible for more people, like calling it an institute, it's probably just better to stop kicking and screaming against the inevitable and let this community blossom into the whole ass mystery school it's meant to be. We're all obviously here to get intimate with the great mysteries and all that is holy and divine on our own terms. And the sacred body is our portal. And that's like one of the most important things about this mystery school. I'm just here to offer medicine, tools, practices, community, and container for people to be on their own journey so that you don't have to journey alone, but that also it's a guided journey, but it's not a dogmatic journey. I'm not asking or inviting anyone to do things my way. Everything I create is a means for you to find your own way. And all this relates back to no longer being in pursuit or desire for a partner also, because there was something in me back when I first envisioned the tattoo that went, ooh, that's a bit much. That'll definitely scare away a potential partner. But now I'm like, well, because that's not my priority or my purpose in life. And if that is meant for me, someone that's aligned for me will actually be drawn in by it, curious, even turned on, and definitely not scared off. So I want to wrap up this episode by officially opening the School of Sacred Embodiment. Our doors are open to all women with eyes to see and ears to hear, whose souls are beckoning them to open and receive their own wisdom and medicine, to be stewards in their own lives, whether the calling is to do work like this or just embody it and be a source of wisdom, love, and liberation for others in their lives, exactly as they are. Current job, family, home, etc., whatever you choose. The School of Sacred Embodiment is a mature place where reverence, humility, and integrity are at the core of everything, and where I am the steward, but not a guru. And I like to put emphasis on mature because there's a lot of embodiment work out there, a lot of healing work, a lot of spiritual teachers out there, led by people, some of whom are chronologically young, others of whom, regardless of age, are just in more of a maiden phase or in some of these energies that just aren't as far along in their path or in their journey or their devotion or embodiment or commitment. And a lot of it is very like ego oriented. A lot of it is very, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at my amazing life. You can have this too. And there's nothing wrong with that because a lot of people have to journey through that space as part of their path and part of their evolution. And for people who just aren't there, our space is not that place. That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're up to. That's not where we're at. So what we offer are free resources, of course. This podcast is a free resource. We have free downloads at untameyourself.com. And our newest one is morning and evening rituals to awaken, remember, untame, and reclaim the power of your sacred body. So if you want those, head to untameyourself.com/rituals. We have embodiment classes and workshops now being offered in the Serpent and Rose studio. And these are mostly online, but I'm also teaching in person in Miami as well. And the studio, this is for those of you who just want to drop in and take classes and workshops whenever you feel like it. And of course, we have an on-demand library there. So you could binge on classes, or you could binge on workshops by theme and topic, if that's what you want to do. Or you could just pop in and take one here and there whenever you want. The studio is at untameyourself.com/studio. And again, all these links, anything I've mentioned in the show will be on the show notes page at untameyourself.com/382. Then we have the Wild Soul Sacred Body community, which is formerly known as the Embodied Living Center. This is a year-long membership. So this is a change. Now that I'm clear that this is a mystery school, in the deepest layer, or the deeper layers, like the Wild Soul Sacred Body community, that's not a space you could just pop in and out of. That's a space you make a commitment to be in a container. It doesn't mean you have to be in there every day, every week, every month. Although I will say most of our members really do spend quite a bit of time in there with the tools and practices. But it just means if you're going to join a community, you're going to be part of a community. It doesn't mean you can't be a lurker, right? There's plenty of people who are in community with us, but kind of keep a low profile. But this isn't the space to pop in and out of. So it's not like you can join for a month and then cancel. We don't do that anymore. That's why I have the Serpent and Rose studio now. You want to pop in and out? Great. Take classes in the studio. But if you actually want community and container, you come join the community, become a member for a year or beyond if you want. We have plenty of people who they just keep their membership rolling year after year. And we're coming up on about 2 years now of that being a space. And so many people who joined originally just kept it rolling for year number 2. And this summer we'll cross into year number 3. It's pretty exciting. So in the Wild Soul Sacred Body community, we have over 200 classes, practices, tools, workshops, and more in our on-demand libraries. And this is a guided place for women who want, like I said, that healing container and community to do their work in. I do monthly healing journeys. We have themes every month. And the themed workshops that people can pay for in the Serpent and Rose studio are included in the Wild Soul Sacred Body community membership. And all members also get discounts on all the classes I teach in the Serpent and Rose studio and any courses or live events I create as well. And I have to brag on this community for a moment because I love our founding members so much. This is a space where women show up just fully as themselves. They're real, they're vulnerable. They talk about and share things in some cases that they don't talk about or share anywhere else. It's a real sisterhood and it's a place to find soul family. And I treasure it so much. It's diverse, it's inclusive. And when I say diverse, I mean diverse in all the ways a place could be diverse. This is not just about race and ethnicity. We have the age range is from like 20s to 70. Women who live all over the world, who do all kinds of jobs, all different levels of education, speak different languages. Some are mothers, some are not. Some are in relationships, some are not. You know, some people are polyamorous, like everything. Like if you could think of a way a human being could be diverse, we've got it. And I love that about us so much. We learn so much from each other all the time. And then lastly, we have courses. The Embodied Self-Love and Wild Soul Archetypes courses are still available through the school. And again, you can find links to those things at the show notes page. And last year I opened up, which is so funny because like literally in real time, as I'm saying this, I'm seeing how this was something that catalyzed me finally realizing that this is a mystery school. For years, I'd been running Wild Soul Movement teacher training, like since 2016. And then last year in 2021, I was like, this isn't just Wild Soul Movement anymore. There's so much here. And I created my embodiment specialist training, which we have 18 women going through this year. And so, you know, for people who want to go deeper into the mystery school, and for people who want to become facilitators of the work and the medicine that we work with in there, you can check out the embodiment specialist training. We won't be enrolling for that until the fall. I will probably do an early bird for it, Mary Magdalene Feast Day in the summer in July, end of July. But so that's it. That's the structure. That's the makeup. That's the school. That's everything that's available to you. So you can participate in any way you may wish to. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it sparked something in you that needed to be sparked. And I just want to end by saying that your body is the pathway, the portal, and the temple. May we stay in remembrance always, and may the mission be fulfilled. Amen.